First thing is, are we surprised? Democrats aren't following the rules. Democrats aren't adhering to the COVID protocols. So we got a whistleblower who came forward and said they're not detaining people they're supposed to detain. They're not sending back people they're supposed to send back. They're not testing the individuals they're supposed to test. They're just releasing them all over the country. As much as 75% of them aren't following the protocols they're supposed to. But again, I come back to the fact, it shouldn't surprise us. They've been doing that for a year and a half. We're just now have a whistleblower who's confirming what we already suspected, what I think you and I probably already knew. And now we want to ask some tough questions and see if we can get some change in the behavior of the Biden administration.
Tell me a little bit about what you expect the Biden administration to do with this problem, given that their attitude thus far seems to be, well, until Central America is basically turned into a peaceful paradise, then there's going to be no solving this problem. It's just something that we have to learn to live with.
Yeah, I mean, look, they caused this problem. You almost have to believe it's intentional because it's so bad. I always remind folks, remember, Ben, March was the worst month on record for illegal crossings. Well, March was the worst month until April, and then April was the worst month until May, and then May was the worst month until June. That's what you call a bad trend, but they don't seem to care. In fact, they don't care. It's so bad that we find out this from a whistleblower who finally said, look, it is so bad. They're not following any of the protocols. So I don't think we'll get much of an answer from them. I think, frankly, and unfortunately, we're just going to have to hang on, highlight as much as we can until Republicans take back the House, and then we can call them in for actual hearings and get more answers and make more publicity so the American people can fully understand just how egregious and just how bad the situation is.
Congressman, I know that you are obviously in Congress and not in a state executive position, but I think Americans got familiar with the idea over the past year and a half of all of these state executives being able to do incredible things with their emergency powers. I mean, heck, Michigan's governor prevented people from being able to buy seeds, and yet we have this problem when it comes to these migrants and refugees that seems to have no type of solution that can happen from the state level. Is there anything in terms of the pushback that you're seeing from fellow Republicans across the country that you have hopes for on that?
Well, I think we all just need to raise the issue. I mean, look, I always go back to last fall. You're exactly right. Last fall in Ohio, you had to be home in your home at 10. In Pennsylvania, when you're in your home, you had to wear a mask. In Vermont, when you're in your home, you didn't have to wear a mask because you weren't allowed to have people over. But at the same time they were doing that to all of us, you have Gavin Newsom telling us, you can't have Thanksgiving with your family, Ben. But, oh, by the way, I'm going to go to a five-star restaurant, hang out with folks, take my mask off, and violate all the rules. The double standard and the arrogance is driving Americans crazy. Our job, you're doing a great job at it, so many others are as well, highlight just how egregious, just how wrong, just how this double standard is. We keep doing that, we'll get to the right policy eventually.